In this lecture, we are looking at the challenges and threats posed to contemporary theologies. Now, some of these challenges include, number one, there is the ethical challenge. Considering that Christianity is not a matter of beliefs, or it's not only a matter of beliefs or experiences, a moral ethical challenge emerges. Certainly, Christianity concerns the ways in which we live. This understanding leads to an ethical challenge. Further, credibility in these contemporary theological trends is a major concern. Again, some ethical issues raised in these theological trends question the very identity of the church itself. For instance, when contemporary theologians of liberation question the church's role in slavery, oppression, economic marginalization, the church law during the apartheid era, the end of Hitler's Nazi regime, the ethical standing of the established church is ethically exposed. And that raises a very serious ethical challenge. Other ethical challenges include the status of women in society. Now, Christian complicity in ecological devastation, gay and lesbian rights, even immense suffering caused by poverty, HIV and AIDS, coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19, genocide like the one that took place in Rwanda, xenophobia as we find them in South Africa, and social oppression that has become so endemic to our contemporary world continues to raise the theodicy problem somewhat blatantly. Why does God of love allow so much suffering to endure relentlessly? The second one is doctrinal challenges. Now, with doctrinal challenge, contemporary theological trends also confronted by doctrinal challenges tend to ask question how. These trends tend to question some Christian traditions that form the Christian doctrine. Hence, some contemporary theologians tend to question the very heart of the Christian tradition. Some contemporary theologians tend to ignore doctrinal issues altogether for diverse reasons. Others prefer to focus on personal religious experiences and overtly resist intellectual form of faith. Some contemporary theologians prefer to articulate the content of Christian faith purely in terms of narrative, songs, proverbs, and local idioms instead of systematic, doctrinally established trends in the history of Christianity. Now, that doctrinal challenge is quite a serious issue. Another challenge faced by contemporary theology is socio-political challenges. Of course, there are a variety of social and political concerns on the social agenda of Christianity. In particular, African continent has socio-political challenges such as civil wars, anarchy, poverty on a mass scale, famine, COVID-19, unemployment, foreign-induced international debts, domestic violence, the plight of women and children, education, ecological crisis, and governance issues, among others. The fourth challenge to contemporary theologies is the cultural challenge. Now, culture is a total sum of life, and its pillars include religion, aesthetics, economics, politics, ethics, and kinship. Now, many people tend to work with one pillar of culture. Of course, if you work as a theologian with one pillar of culture, or any scholar, or you work with one pillar of culture like aesthetics, or economic alone, or politics alone, ethics alone, and kinship only, you tend to fail. because life is a total sum. And some of these contemporary theologies have tended to align on one of the pillars of culture rather than all pillars of culture. Another challenge is the ideological challenge. Now, ideological challenges come hand in hand with globalization. Now, globalization describes the process by which regional economies, societies, and cultures have become integrated through a global network of political ideas, through communication, transportation, and trade. In a nutshell, globalization seems to suggest that the world in which we live has become one global village. The problem with globalization is that the forces that enforce such closeness remain elusive and or ambiguous and are experienced in the now global culture of consumerism. Ripples, for instance, are that there is a proverbial Coca-Cola advert in every single village globally. Are the strong forces consuming others? There is also an emerging modernist critique against the tendency to replace God with mammon, the god of hedonism and consumerism, and such like things that pose challenges and threats to these contemporary theologies. The other challenge is the religious one. In light of globalization, the quest for religious tolerance, interfaith dialogue, appreciation of religious diversity, emphasis on religious tolerance, respect for individual choice, eulogizing democracy as the best way out, and so on, as the new contemporary trends, is indeed a challenge. Now, this emphasis on the coexistence of religious traditions has its own challenges, as it is common even in the religiously infused military conflicts, as in the case of Iraq and Somalia. Now, Hans Kuhn has often emphasized that there can be no peace in the world without peace between the world's religious traditions. Further, there can be no peace between religious traditions without dialogue between groups, especially with regard to common global ethos. World religions, that includes African religion, Judaism, Islam, Christianity, and others, contend that God is the creator of the whole cosmos. And this agrees with the psalmist 24 verse 1, that the earth is the Lord's and all what there is in it. You may talk of state, politics, economics, culture, religion, and so on. The earth is the Lord's and all that there is in it. The challenge of the coexistence of religious traditions is certainly the problem of conflicting truth claims, which is an issue that contemporary theologies have to contend with as we seek to compare Jesus with Buddha, Gautama Buddha, Confucius, Socrates, Muhammad, and other religious leaders. The challenge can be with the evangelical Christians who may ask, how do we reconcile with the divinity of Christ? Because these others don't claim divinity in their discourses. Thank you.